Hey everybody, Louis from Spectora here. I want to share a longer interview that I did with Floyd Gibbs out of Quality Home Inspections in Virginia. Floyd owns and operates his own home inspection company. He's also an instructor for ICA, Inspection Certification Associates. He's a 24-year veteran, and what was really interesting about Floyd is that he's preparing to go in, weather, and come out stronger of potentially the third recession of his career. One as a home inspector and one as a contractor before in the 80s. Had a really interesting conversation with him about growing too fast, how to control your pace of growth, things to do when you hit a downturn, ways you can scale back, ways you can increase your revenue. And then at the end, we talked a lot about sort of positive mindset, finding the silver lining and really battling back, self-doubt when you're not getting as many jobs as you want, focusing on improving yourself professionally and even personally. I hope it's inspiring for other home inspectors. Here's the interview.
One thing that jumped out at me like right away is that you've been a home inspector for, what'd you say, 23 years?
24 years.
Wow. And that's pretty rare at this point in time in the industry. Can you tell me a little bit about like how big your team is now, and like how fast it's grown from start to finish to present?
Absolutely. Start to finish, when I first got started, I grew too fast, which does happen to people. And I wanted to put on more bodies, and I grew very fast and found out that putting on more bodies and making more money can cost you more than you could ever imagine. One mistake can cost you enough profit on 20 houses. And so I went back down after my first year in business. I was one of the fastest growing back in 1999. And I went back down to 3 people and started slowly and taking it more seriously, that I can't have any mistakes in my company because of the expense of making a mistake. Then I grew through the years and grew slowly like I needed to. Some came, some went. Anytime you train a home inspector to be excellent, which is what I train, they tend to want to go off and do it on their own and leave you. That's all a part of owning a business and growing a business and dealing with that personnel issue. Now we're up to 14 people, and we handle Virginia and North Carolina, South Carolina, and Maryland.
How do you have multiple offices?
We do. We have one in Charlotte, one in Outer Banks, and one in Suffolk, Virginia.
And are you at a point now, Floyd, where you're still in the field quite a bit, or have you kind of stepped back and you're doing administrative stuff now?
Mainly because we're training so much across the country. I don't do as many inspections that I used to, but whenever I'm not training, the office has got me booked. I don't think they like me in the office.
Tell me like some of the secrets or some of the nuggets you've learned as you rescaled up to a fairly large number of home inspectors. How do you keep the ship straight and know what's happening in your business?
Well, you have to have somebody to man the phones properly, answer the phone calls, no matter how irate, how small, it doesn't matter. Every phone call from every client and every realtor is that important to handle with a very fine glove. Next, I will tell you one of the biggest secrets is what your realm is: the home inspection reporting. That is huge, because at the end of the day, that's what is going to be held against you, whether you did a proper job or not. And so having your report software and your wording absolutely spot on will give you the freedom and the comfort that you can focus on what you're really paid to do, and that is the inspection itself, not the reporting software. That's another reason why I'm so proud of Spectora, that they have really given us the tools to make templates and to make a program that I can be proud of, but also covers me and covers the house and covers my client. And that is probably the second most important thing, other than personal care and taking care of people with personality. The second thing is protecting yourself on paper.
So you're talking about, you're kind of alluding to having really solid inspection agreements, and making sure that all your kind of liabilities are covered during inspections?
Absolutely. Wording is everything. If you don't test the AC, recommend having the AC evaluated and repaired as needed prior to use. Prior to use, people don't use. Prior to use means don't turn it on until you do. Because daggone well in 3 months, they're going to turn it on. And if it doesn't work, they're coming at you. They could care less, you know, they don't read that you didn't do right. You got to tell them, hey, look, go to page 24. Here's where I wrote it. But if you wrote it wrong or miss one phrase, then that could put you at jeopardy.
I'm curious about your story of the 2008 recession, because most home inspectors, as the market starts to change and we go into a downturn potentially next year, most of them, this is the first time they've experienced that. So this would be the second time or maybe more that you've experienced it. So give me kind of your lessons learned from the first recession.
All right. The first one I went through was in 1981 as a contractor. That's when the interest rates got up to almost 19% interest rate. Oh, it was horrible. It was a very difficult time, but people still buy and sell homes, even with high interest rate like that. Then we were pretty much okay. Once that came off of its high pollutant level, it came down to 18, 17, 16, came down to 12. We lingered around 11. And a lot of people don't know this, but the interest rates kept going down until 2008. We were hinging somewhere around a 4 to 8%, depending on where you are. But once we hit 2008, the market crashed. And the market crashed because of the subprime. Had directly to do with what we do. The subprime of properties, when people purchased them and got loans, that's what went bad. And because of everybody was holding on to loans that they couldn't afford, we even had banks going bankrupt because of such. And when that happened, a lot of people don't realize this, but a lot of your home builders, they lost their butt. Yeah, the only home builders that were really able to get through 2008 and still build houses was the big boys, the Ryan Homes and the Lennars and the people like that, because they could still get a loan. Remember, your small time builders, could not get loans. And a lot of times these builders were holding on to 5, 6, 10 houses when the market crashed, and they couldn't sell them. Yeah. And when they did, they had to file bankruptcy. And then the bank wouldn't give them any loan for within 5 years. So we didn't really hit the next really outcome until the 2012, 2013, when all the new builders, all the old builders were able to get their loans back and start building. And that's when we started doing more inspections for somebody other than big builders.
When the market contracted in those years after 2008, how did it affect your business? And did you have to make sacrifices or make choices as far as like you couldn't spend all the resources that you could before?
Absolutely. There was 2 issues with the 2008. Leading up to 2008, people weren't getting home inspections because they were buying homes sight unseen. So people don't realize it was actually an issue for home inspectors prior to 2008. Houses were selling like hotcakes, but nobody was getting inspections, because if you got an inspection, they wouldn't sell it to you, because they were selling.
Familiar.
Yeah, they were selling homes for $50,000 more than what they were worth. So they were niching the home inspections. So we actually were doing less home inspections almost before 2008. Then when 2008 hit, everybody was getting home inspections that were purchasing. However, not many people were purchasing.
Right.
People don't realize all these little ins and outs.
So obviously you came out fine. You said it was around, 2012 that you started kind of picking up and accelerating. And then was it pretty smooth up until, the pandemic and the year following?
It was increasing. We had the ability to grow the company. we were very proud of where we were. It was increasing in the right manner at the right pace. Once the new builders came in, like I said, 2012 were the old builders, and they started building, that's when really it started picking up. But people kept sticking with the home inspections where they weren't niching them. Remember, you normally niche home inspections when it's a seller's market. And even though we turned to a seller's market and people were starting to niche them before the pandemic, they were still, a lot of them were still getting home inspections. So people were thriving before the pandemic because all the builders were back into play again. And interest rates were low, very low. In fact, lower than what, do you know what interest rate is an average for our country?
Like historically?
Yeah,
Tell me.
8%.
Hmm.
I mean, if you go across the board, we've been up to 19, we've been down to what, 2.5%, 3%.
Right.
But if you average it across the board, 8% is an average interest rate for our country. And yet we're freaking out because we're at 7 some odd percent. Take it in perspective, people buy and sell homes 8%. Once they get used to 8%, home sales are going to go back up. Once they feel comfortable that we're on the right path, and we're going to get there. This too will be passed. We're going to pass this and we're going to be back to where we were. It's a matter of when.
I want to get back to your predictions about, the next 6 months. But before I do that, before I forget, I want to unpack a little bit. You said that you grew a little too fast in the beginning. So what is your business's sort of rules for growth now? Like, how do you know when it's time for a new inspector or a new officer market?
When my phone calls are coming in and I'm having to turn people down, that's what I don't want to do. You turn down a realtor once, you might not get them to call you back.
Hmm.
Because remember, if you're growing, you're not growing with your old realtors, you're growing with new realtors. And if you tell a new realtor no, then they're going to go back to their other guy or pick up another card. So knowing when 2008 hit, we went on the premises that it is going to break and we're going to get busy. So we took to 2008 and we started marketing and we started fine tuning our program and making it better, where a lot of times when you're just doing inspections, you're not bettering yourself, you're only maintaining.
Hmm.
When the market gets low, you've got several options as a home inspector. And everybody is at that point right now. You've got several options and I'm going to put them to you. You might not like them, but you've got to go with them. One is give up altogether. That's what I don't recommend for a lot of people, but it is going to weed out some of these home inspectors. Either give up and just go back to your daytime job or whatever you feel like is going to make you money. You've got to pay the bills, and I understand that. For other inspectors, it is what they're going to do or need to do is they need to market and they need to fine tune and their process. They need to fine tune their company. They need to fine tune their reports, go over them, because even after 24 years, I look at my reports and there's some things that I can make changes to that I just don't do on a fly. So when the market gets low, what I do is I design my company to be bigger when it comes out.
Hmm. Talk to me about marketing. How do you like to market? Do you have a marketing budget? Do you have a salesperson on your team?
We have several salespeople on our team that take goodies to realtors and do a lot of speaking and calls. We call them up. We go and we speak in front of realtors. Every week we have to be in front of several companies a week. And so that's what our inner office has to do, is set up appointments for either me or a CFO or one of our other guys to go in and speak to a group either on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. When we're busy, you don't get a chance to do that. When all your inspectors are busy, it's a little more difficult to expand because all you're doing is answer the phone and swinging. Well, if you take a downturn, you can either take a downturn as a detriment to your company, or you can take a downturn and make something positive out of it. Unfortunately, you can't stop the downturn, but what you can do is change your rule of thinking. And that is to make your business more fine-tuned, make it better, get a goal for yourself, and come out of it better than you went into it.
Right. And um, last question with marketing, the other side of that is like digital marketing, running ads, things like that. Is that something that you favor, or do you like to do kind of face-to-face, shake hands, exchange cards marketing?
Face-to-face is always going to be 80% better than online marketing. People put things with a face and personality. Even though this online marketing and stuff can show a little bit of personality, it's nothing like being in your face. If there are 5 inspectors and all of them are really good, the inspector that goes in and sees the realtors the most is the one that's going to have the most jobs. So we have to do the digital marketing because that's part of our life now. We have somebody in our office that every 2 or 3 days, they have to put something out digitally, whether it's a trick of the trade or tip Tuesdays. We do tip Tuesdays, Freaky Fridays, where we use pictures, and we're always keeping our clients and keeping the social media knowing who we are, because at the end of the day, it's recognition. It's name recognition.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you acknowledge that you have a strength that you like to lay into with your marketing, but it doesn't mean that you can completely abandon all forms of marketing. Like you have to have a minimal level of everything to make sure that you're covering all your bases. I like that.
Let's put it this way. We have an 8-foot by 38-foot billboard in Outer Banks. We've been on the radio. We market online every other day. And of course, reviews are very big. You've got to have reviews that come in. So asking for reviews from your clients, getting reviews from your realtor. When you go do an inspection, take a picture of you and the client and the realtor, do a selfie,
Love
and
that.
then put it on the internet and say, thank you so much for Miss June, the realtor of Long and Foster, and the clients, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, for this wonderful purchase and wonderful home that we had the ability to inspect. It only takes a minute to do something that really shines for everybody.
Love that. And it's so good that people can go on your website or on your social, and once they see like real people that are really using your services, that kind of social proof is like so powerful.
Absolutely.
So I remember late last year, we were talking to a lot of inspectors that they saw the writing on the wall. They knew that the market was going to change this year. Some thought it would be sooner or later. Is this something that you were really preparing for or concerned about, late last year, early this year? Or were you thinking like, hey, it's going to be fine. We're going to get through this one just like everything else?
We're going to get through it. No question about that. Everybody's going to get through it. It's a matter of your mindset and can you get through it financially. Everybody has to make that decision. When COVID hit, it surprised all of us because we thought the market would go down, but it didn't. It went up.
Right. Yeah.
And so that took everybody for a ride. And during COVID, ICA was training quite a few people to get into the home inspection world. Everybody was thriving. Everybody was doing pretty good during the COVID, which was a very big shock. But as soon as, again, when you're looking at politics, which I hate mentioning politics, but we've got to, because that does mess with the market. When we crashed in 1981 and had one of the highest interest rates of modern time, is because of social media, social spending, and the oil embargoes. So it came down to energy and social spending. Well, where are we at today? Energy crisis and social spending. So we're back to where we were back in 1981, and I don't want to scare everybody, but we have the ability that if we don't get this under control, that interest rates are going to still continue to go up. But right now, with being under 8%, we're still not on an average as what we normally are. As far as what I'm afraid of ahead of us, I'm not. It's a potluck, but here's my rule of thought. The stock market sucks. So what we're getting ready to see is an upturn in sell from people taking money out of the stock market that's not exactly, doing the best in the world and trying to put it in real estate because, and I'm going to say this, and that is that with the social media and with everybody in the politician world wanting to help the small guy, don't be shocked if somebody comes out with with programs for people who normally can't afford the homes to now be able to afford homes.
Right. It's
Oh
funny you
yeah.
mentioned that. I was just reading that in Florida, the state government has a new program where they will give free home inspections to certain residents, and home inspectors can apply to be sort of the preferred partner. And then you just get jobs from the state. And I don't know how strong of a pipeline is, but I think they said they expect, like at least 100,000 applicants in the first year or so of people trying to get free home inspections.
Oh, absolutely. And people who, I mean, the American dream is to buy a home and to get married and have kids. All right. Maybe not in that order. Either way, people's dream is to have a home of their own. And when you get to a situation like we are in the political atmosphere, a lot of the social money is going to be going to help people get into homes. And what they'll do is they'll turn to banks. And that's what happened in 1981. In 1981, the president came out and put out social spending, meaning to help people out. They went to the banks. The banks were given more freedom to give more loans, and with all of that put together, released a lot more money and a lot more ability for people to buy homes, and that's what got us out of the 1981 crash.
I'm curious, do you have add-on services? Have you always had them, and have you lately been re-examining them, considering adding new services onto what you do beyond just home inspections?
Absolutely. We always want to look at new services that our clients might need or that we can get paid for. They really don't change regardless of the market. Your home inspections might, whether you wait to closing to get paid, the different things might come up that you might need to do to keep your business going. But in the home inspection world, we have at our fingertips, you got FEMA. We can go to FEMA and start doing work for them. You can do bank draws, you can do mold inspections, air quality inspections. There's a lot of different inspections that you can take up that will help people in a time like this. Thermal imaging, and if the home inspections are decreasing, you certainly want to maybe market some of your other ones.
Right. Tell me more about the FEMA thing. I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, a home inspector and anybody can apply for a FEMA approval. And it's a bunch of paperwork, but if you fill it all out as a FEMA inspector, then when they have a catastrophic, like in Louisiana, when Hurricane Katrina came in, they call up a bunch of inspectors and say, go out and we're going to pay you for months to go out and inspect all these homes and let us know what shape it's in. The only issue is when they call you, you got to go. You can't turn them down and think that they're going to call you again.
Right.
But it's good money. It's federal money, government money, and with all the natural catastrophes that happen around the country, FEMA has to be involved, and they don't have enough people to inspect, and they can hire inspectors from us. So that is a really good. If you're able to leave your home and be gone for a month, FEMA's a really good one for you.
Oh, great tip. Oh, yeah. And that's a good point. You don't have to live in a disaster prone area if you're willing to travel a little bit, huh?
I got a call, said they wanted me to come to Katrina, and I said I'm not able. I'm so busy. But that was good, clean money. All you had to do was drive down there and show up and do what they tell you to do.
Oh, fantastic. Hey, a couple more questions for you. I want to be respectful of your time. You we didn't mention that you are a home inspector instructor. You work for ICA, Inspection Certification Associates. How many new prospective home inspectors do you probably interact with in a given month?
In a given month, about 30.
Okay.
That's through me. That's through me and Sandra. We've got a class right now in Maryland that we've got 15. Our normal class is anywhere between 8 and 20.
What do you think is like the best thing and the worst thing that new home inspectors can be doing right now, for the next couple months?
The worst thing as a home inspector is to go out there and beg for inspections. Do not go out and sound like that you are going to not be able to feed your family if that realtor doesn't give you a job. It is going to turn them off. They're going to sense it. You've got to ride this one through. You can't try to force your business and you're down somebody's throat because you're hungry. You can't do that. They will absolutely turn on you. And remember, how many chances do you get with a realtor?
Right.
Once.
One at
You
the
get
most.
one
Yeah.
chance. Yeah, man. You mess up a realtor, you don't get them back. And so I find inspectors that when they get needy and they get hungry and things go down, they go out and it actually shows in their marketing that you call me today. I'm ready right now. I mean, these kind of things is what turns off realtors. Because let me tell you something, if they had an inspection, they want it done. They want more homes to sell because they want more money. But last thing they need is somebody picking at their ear going, I need this inspection. Can you call me? When's your next inspection? You got to back off of them. So that's the worst thing to do as an inspector when things get rough, is to go sound like you are dying, that they're starving to death. You can't do that. The best thing you can do, and it's what I did and it's what I recommend to all of the inspectors out there, is look for the silver lining in this. You can't control what's going on. All you can control is yourself. If you can take your company and fine tune it, maybe do some more training, maybe get a young buck in that you've been wanting to train for a while and take the slow time to train them. When you come out of it, and then you have one extra inspector. Another thing is to market. This is the time that you've got to market, but you market with ease. You market with good little tidbits here and there, and drop off Twizzlers with a nice brochure saying, Merry Christmas, or hey, first of the year, I'm going to give everybody $50 off your first inspection. First of the year, special, or $25 off an inspection. There's always something that we can do to get people to look at us, but we have to look at ourselves and make ourselves better. And that means make our program better, our process better, make our report writing better, and make our company better. Then you have a silver lining you can hold your hat on. If you don't do that and you just struggle and you bitch and you complain, and then what have you really accomplished? You might have gone backwards, in my opinion. You got to keep yourself excited and generated that your company is moving forward. This time of the year is when people think that their company is moving backwards. Number one, not many people are buying homes after September because of kids in the school. So we go down between September and March. Naturally, even if the market was doing good, we still go down in business. So not only did we hit it that we're going down in business, but interest rates are going up and housing building is going down. So we've got to find the silver lining. If you can find the silver lining, you will come out of this very well.
Man, it's so fascinating. I've listened to like all of the Spectora Spotlight podcasts with Kevin, and you hear the same things over and over. And like everything you just said, I've heard other good home inspectors say. I've literally heard someone use the verbiage silver lining and how that's important in home inspection. I just a couple of weeks ago was listening to a realtor get interviewed, and she said, "Hey, I can smell desperation a mile away, and it never gets me fired up to hire you when you're like, yeah, I'll be at your house in 5 minutes. Like even if you have to fake it till you make it, like."
That's absolutely. If I have nothing on my books and the realtor calls me up and says, "Are you available for Tuesday at 2 o'clock?" I'm going to look at my, well, I'm
Right.
kind I tell you what, I can move stuff around to take care of
Right.
you.
Yeah. So the last question I have about that is, I would imagine that's also directly tied to pricing. Do you see a lot of new home inspectors that are underpricing their services? And like, what's your general advice around pricing?
You got to do that. You got to come down on pricing. So instead of just going from a $400 inspection to a realtor and nothing changed other than the day, and you go to them and say you're going to now do it for $300, I'm not too much keen on that as much as I am giving them $50 off, or giving them $75 off for all new all new realtors who have not used me, and $50 off for maybe all the ones who have used me. I would rather give discounts than to say I'm just cutting my prices all across the board.
Right. So it's a one-time, discount, and then hopefully they use you again and you recoup that
Very
discount over
good.
time.
The last thing you need to do is come down to 300 and then everything is going good and you pop up to 400 and they call you back and say, "Well, the last home you did was 300. That's all we're paying."
I
Oh
love
no,
that. Great
see,
hack.
exactly. That really does happen. So giving discounts is better than just coming down on your price, because then they're going to expect you to stay down there.
That's a great tip. I'm going to be sure to share that. Um, Man, anything else that you kind of had on your list? Like, man, I wanted to talk about this, or I wanted to mention this before I let you go.
Yes, because I'm a trainer, when things get slow, in order to keep your mind active and moving forward and finding the silver lining, find training. Go into air quality, take training, take more training, so you can be better tomorrow than you were today. What it does is it's a mental thing. When you wake up in the morning and you have no inspections, as a home inspector, it kills you. And then the next day you don't have a home inspection. It really takes a very big toll on you mentally. I'm not going to fight the market. What I'm going to fight is my mental anguish. I don't want my mental state of mind to go down. I want it to stay sharp, and I want my mental state to feel like that I'm constantly growing, even though my bank account is decreasing.
Hmm.
You don't need both of them to decrease. If you let both of them decrease, then you are a failure. You're allowing yourself to fail yourself. You're letting yourself down. So if you can't control the market, you can control your own mental state of mind. And that is further training and growing your company, and fine tuning your report software.
And people don't think about this as much with an organization like ICA. They mentally think of it like, oh, that's the first thing I do when I'm becoming a home inspector, and then I'm sort of done. But ICA offers a ton of continuing education credits, and even have like a marketing course, I believe, right?
Oh, absolutely. We've got a lot of different courses, and it's not just for CEs. Remember, if you want to learn, you don't need somebody to give you something to learn. Find a program that you like, that you want to learn about, and take it, and better off yourself. But CE credits is good, and most people only think about taking a course if you have to have the CE credits.
Right.
I disagree with that. I feel that you need to look at yourself and what will better yourself as a home inspector, as a marketer, as a person. What will better you, and what's out there that will help you? And that will help your mental state of mind, that after a week, I might have done 2 inspections instead of 8, which I'm used to doing 8. But the 2 inspections I'm able to smile at, because the other time I was doing something to benefit my future.
Love it. Hey, I really appreciate all those great little nuggets that you just gave us.
I've been
You
a
know,
contractor for 45 years and a home inspector for 24, and top trainer in the country. I'm here to help people, and I can't. We can't control a lot of things around us, but we need to look in the mirror and control us. We need to control what we can do and find the silver lining in everything. Well, you don't have to like anything you spread on the table. Every option sucks. But once you get over that and say, okay, fine, I'm going to choose option B that sucks
mhm,
because it sucks the least.
right.
then you find the silver lining. It's like anything else. If I got a client that says, Floyd, you missed something and I'm not happy, I'm going to find a silver lining, maybe give them a little money back and then have them give me a nice review. Or go to the realtor and say, hey, look, I didn't have to give any money back, but I wanted to make your client happy. And now the realtor is 3 times happier with you. So again, it comes down to finding what it takes for you personally and mentally to get through this, especially since you can't control the financial end of it.
Right.
Hi everyone, this is Louis from Spectora. I'm going to put 3 links down in the description below. The first link is for you if you like Spectora, but maybe you just have a couple questions. You can schedule a 15-minute discovery call with someone from our client success team to make sure that Spectora is a great fit for you. It is, by the way. If you're ready to dive in and start using the app, the second link is for our free trial. With the average cost of a home inspection, that's a couple $1,000s that you'll pocket before you pay us a dime. And the third link is for our Spectora Jumpstart program. If you're a brand new home inspector, you probably need a website, or maybe you have a website that you just kind of threw up real quick and you're not super thrilled with it. In the Jumpstart program, we'll make you a great website based on feedback from you to make sure that it reflects your business, your market, and you. We'll optimize it for search engines, and we'll put an online scheduler on your website too, so you can spend less time on the phone and more time out in the field working. We'll also bundle it with a full year of the Spectora app, and we'll do it at a great price too. Hey, thanks for watching this video. I hope you check out other videos on this channel, and take care.